This is the weekly video preview for August 29th through September 2nd. Not believe it's already going to be September next week. Um, so, just a quick reminder, agendas and glue sticks are the supplies that I'm still seeing some kiddos not having. Please just reach out if your kiddo needs that. Um, and um, Yeah, okay, that's it. So I wanted to talk about grades because your students have some graded work in the grade book, and some of you might have older kids and are super familiar with checking their grades, and some of you may not be. But basically, I just wanted to kind of give you a rundown of the grading system for my class for language arts. Basically, at this point, they only have 2 grades. They technically have a third one that's called Finishing iReady, but that is listed as a not for grading. So it's not any points. So don't give points for Finishing iReady, but it's more like a track and an acknowledge, like a bookkeeping tracking mark for me. Hey, did this kid finish yet the iReady diagnostic? And also it lets you know, but they do not receive a grade. It says not for grading, but there are 2 graded grades, grades that count in the grade book at this point. Um, and so you can go in and check that. And because there are only 2, basically, if your student has missed even one of them, it's going to impact their grade a lot right now. So as we get more grades, that will kind of even out. And of course, if they've missed one, the ideal goal would be that they make it up, and they can. As a reminder, I allow students to make up work um, for 10 days without penalty. So they've got time. Um, but as it's not the traditional elementary model, they need to approach me when they have it done. There is a place where they can submit work online. Or I'm sorry, not online, where they can submit work if it's been on paper. But a lot of our work is in the interactive notebooks. They can't submit that to me because they're working in it. So they need to just let me know, call me over. Um, and it's just kind of on them to let me know if it's late, if they have it. Okay, so I do grade by practice and mastery. I do believe that practice is important, but then at the same time, if a student can master a concept, I don't want to do too much practice with them necessarily. And so I might kind of pull off if a student has mastered a skill. And basically, mastery would essentially be like a quiz grade, but I don't give a ton of quizzes. Like, we're working on narratives right now. All the writing leading up to that is pretty much going to be practice, and then they'll have had like 3 weeks to a month to perfect this narrative, and then that will be a mastery grade. The finished narrative will be a mastery grade. It's not a test, it's a written piece. But that's kind of how that works. One thing to note, basically, if your student's absent, I mark AB for absent in the grade book, and that automatically kicks the grade to a 0, which can look very alarming. That is just a function of the grade book. I would love if it would just hold the grade harmless, but I don't think there's a way to do that. And then the point is that your student has not only however many days they missed, but they also have the 10 days to submit work without penalty. So if let's say your student was absent for 2 days, they actually have 12 days to get that in, right? My 10 days that I give everyone, plus the 2 days they were absent. So if they can get that in within 12 days, they're fine and the 0 goes away. But I know that that can look alarming. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. I will say though, even though I allow that 10 days of late work, missing work is harmful. Like, it just is. So especially for writing, like if you miss the rough draft, then you have nothing to work with the next day when we start to edit things. So it is super important to try to do the work. Um, and I know life happens as, a human and a parent myself. I understand that, but it is really important that they're doing the work. And one way you can support that is check their agenda every single night. Remember that, at least for my class, and I don't know for other classes, but at least for my class, they should be writing down their homework every single night. They get like 2 minutes at the beginning of class to write it down. It's listed on the agenda slides, as you can see here on this agenda slide that's on the screen. They can see it. They are given time to write it down. And if there's none, they should write none. So if they don't write none, then they've missed something. If it's just blank, they've missed something. So there's that. Also, when students miss an assignment, they do get, the opportunity to communicate that to you and fill out a missing homework slip. They're just little message pads, and a couple of people probably seen some already. Go ahead and get it signed. If they don't return 3 of them, then I'll call home. So, like, if you sign it and your child forgets to bring it on Monday, they can always bring it Tuesday. But if Monday was their first time that their 3rd time to not turn one in, you're probably gonna get a call that afternoon anyways, call or an email. So, that's just my way of trying to communicate with you. I know you as parents wanna be involved, but of course, you know that I have 100 plus students, and so it has to be a pretty automated system for me to be able to reach out, and what I'm seeing is not a lot of kids missing work, which is awesome, so not a huge deal. Um, okay. Finally, I think most of my students are done with iReady. There's been a lot of glitches just because of the, Chromebook situation, so I'm gonna be sending home today, Friday, the 26th, like a one-page report in their homework folder, which they should have as part of their supplies. So go ahead and check for that today. If you have any questions, let me know. If the questions come in after school hours, I'll probably respond on Monday. So please don't be offended if I don't respond over the weekend. But yeah, hopefully those will be something you're looking forward to seeing. Okay, let's talk about the agenda and the plan for next week. So your kiddos have been doing a lot of work with narratives. They've written narratives, they've read narratives by other people. So, I'm trying to get to next week. Um, we are going to continue to work with those narratives next week. The first Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they're gonna have a lot of time to there we go. Don't go okay. To work on revising and just improving their work. So we'll go over, they'll be working in stations where they get to work on each thing. We'll review the expectations for stations. They haven't really done stations yet. I put on here Chromebooks because there might be Chromebooks next week. I don't know. Don't hold me to anything, but if we have them, we'll use them, and if we don't, we won't. So far, everything they've done has been on paper, and that's how I kind of like to do beginning drafts anyways because it facilitates the writing process. But so they will be checking they'll be doing writing workshop where they are checking their dialogue for punctuation and format. We'll work on improving or adding conclusions and leads. Word choice, we'll talk about precise nouns, sensory language. We'll talk about sentence variety, and avoiding where every sentence starts with "and then I did," and "next I went," and mixing it up a little bit. And then pronoun antecedent agreement, and then there'll be exit tickets most of those days. Okay. Then on Wednesday, or no, on Thursday, sorry, they are going to start the actual editing and reviewing process or revising process. So they're gonna glue in, so again, they're gonna need glue sticks. They're gonna glue in their, 2 things into their interactive notebooks. We have a practice editing passage, and we have an editing marks sheet, so I guess there might be gluing in 3 things. And then they also have, a sheet it's like a kinda like a cheat sheet, like if someone or your teacher says this, what do you do? Like, if you write this, what do you write back? What do you fix? So kind of like a cheat sheet. They'll be gluing all those in. We'll also talk about academic conversations a little bit more. We've already talked about that some, but how to have an academic conversation that's maybe uncomfortable. Like if you think someone's done something like has the wrong answer in a group discussion, how do you handle that to be kind? A lot of students are just so wonderfully polite and kind that they're uncomfortable disagreeing with someone. So we talk about that, which really comes up when you're editing and revising people's papers. Telling someone your paper looks great is incredibly polite, but it's not very helpful. So we talk about that. And then they will actually get to edit and revise their papers. And it will not be the last time they're touching their papers. They're actually not turning in their papers till the next Friday. So they've got time. And then if I can get okay, there we go. And then on Friday, they're going to need their glue sticks again. We'll do some grammar. Right now, it's that we're going to be doing adjectives and adverbs. but depending how our lesson for today on verbs goes, we might do more verbs. So that's subject to change. Basically, I respond to the student need on that. But they will potentially be gluing in. So again, they're going to need a glue stick, gluing in worksheets. And it might seem like a lot of gluing, but um, it's a way of avoiding them having to take a ton of notes, which of course they don't wanna take a ton of notes. As parents, you might be like, "Notes never hurt anybody," and that's true. There is a skill of being able to take notes, but I want them to focus on the grammar and not the note taking. So, the skill I'm building is the grammar, not note taking. So, we're gonna glue things in and they're gonna work with those things. And if we have Chromebooks, we might get onto Membean and No Red Ink. Membean is our vocabulary online program that we use, and No Red Ink is our grammar online program that we use. It's if we have them, we'll do it. Also, I like students to check their grades every other week. We're probably only going to do that. Well, no, we're only going to do that if we have Chromebooks because they need to be able to access their grades. I don't like posting student grades even with ID numbers. It's just too risky of having a mistake and identifying someone else's grades. So we will only check grades biweekly if we have Chromebooks. But I like them to know where they stand. So, okay. I hope that helps. This video probably went a little bit longer than I intended to, but have a great weekend and thanks for watching. Bye.